morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy hump day, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame right now. You'll notice a 4-day compression right here. Very narrow 4-day range. Right now, the ADR Pro indicator reading a 26% of average range on a 4-day range basis. Currently, the range is 62.5 points, and this thing would normally see somewhere around 215 points on a 4-day range basis in the current market. That's a ton of compression right there. And if we were to see an overextended market, a move beyond that, you're looking at somewhere north of 250 points on a wide-ranging basis. So we have a ton of energy built up here. You can see right there, nearly 270 points of potential range could be ahead, but anywhere between 200 and 250 could be an easy amount of points on a 4-day range breakout basis. Are we going to break out soon? Do we stay within the range now and continue to trade and develop within this range? We did get ADP, non-farm employment change, out this morning. This one coming in a bit less than expected. negative 32K versus a 5K estimate. Does that lead to a bit more of a tepid response here to begin the day? We will see. Is expansion ready to happen? Which way? If you look at this chart here and you look at this compression here after strength, it's very similar to maybe this compression after strength or this compression right here after strength. A lot of these markets, after rotating to these highs and getting trapped at those highs within narrow ranges, we've been seeing a bit of a pullback following those stretches. Do we see a little bit of a pullback, or is this a full guns a-blazing back to the October FOMC key level at 69.35 ahead? So this narrow range going to tell us a lot here very, very shortly. Taking a look here at the NQ. While this is a narrow 4-day range, we have mostly an upward bias in this one. The NQ continues to be a bit more bullish here. It's also returning back toward the upper FOMC key level, 26,255. That's a level that could certainly be hit. Again, once it's taken offered and we drop, as soon as you see a strong low, you tend to work your way back to that level. Is this a moment where we continue to rotate higher toward that 26,255 level? Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity. This one remains strong. It really does. A failure to say, a close above the previous session's mid would suggest back within the range a bit. But until then, we're kind of flowing higher until proven otherwise in the NQ. If we take a look here at crude oil, this one's up 1 1/3%, back up within the range. This one continues to trade within this downward sloping channel here, and really within a very narrow range overall. This one really hasn't had great price action to follow. I've mentioned before with this one, you just gotta wait and be patient. And if we do see some sort of rotation, like I mentioned, to the downside, it may be the last drop before we see a pretty solid buying opportunity over the next 4 to 6 weeks. All right, looking at gold futures, up about 0.7%, inside day, very narrow right now, heading into the RTH open. Now, for this range, again, we have a wider range here, and like I mentioned with this one, I feel like this range is going to trap price for a little while with an upward bias, and at some point we do see expansion to the top side. But until then, we could continue to see a bit of back and forth. So not going to be too excited about an upside break here. At some point, we may rotate back within the range and continue to build out back and forth until that next phase of expansion is ready to occur. All right, looking at the YM. The YM with a 4-day compression, it's really a well-developed 5-day range. So let's go ahead and make that 5 days here. And it'll right here quantify that 5-day range as 34% of average, a current range of 625 points, which is from that low to that high, currently inside that range. Usually an average range right now on a 5-day range basis would be about 1,600 points in the current shorter term market, about 1,500 points. That's quite a bit. So if we do see expansion, do we get a move of about 1,500 points on the low end? Or do we see something more northward of 2,000 points, which is where the 125% expansion target would be? That might be a little high, but easily 1,500 points could be in play up ahead on an expansion basis. And so which way will it be? Do we fail through 47.2 and drop 1,500 points? Or does any pullback, say into 47K, lead to a 1,500 point rally into 48.5? That takes us back to the highs of the year. So which way do we go? Continue to watch that 5-day compression in the YM. Looking at Bitcoin, a little bit of a pump fake here. We got the pullback. I mentioned here we could be looking at another rotation down. We got one the very next day, but yesterday a hard pullback and now a new pivot high. Does this suggest we're rotating higher and rallying? Or is this kind of a pump fake before the next rotation? Last time we got that pullback here and a 1-day drop. It held the mid and we got the pump fake. There's the higher high and then we dropped. It's almost nearly identical what's happening now. From that preceding drop into that weak-ish low, the midpoint holding on a deep pullback, the first high, and now a new high here. It's almost like clockwork right now. We're still in a downtrend. I'm still giving this bearish bias the upper hand at the moment. And yes, we could continue to push up a little bit, but as I've mentioned before, in a bear market move, some of the best bounces happen, and then it's still rotated downward. So I'm going to continue to be cautious on this up move at the moment. Continue to watch this with a side eye here because we still may see another rotation down. And based on the 8-day to 10-day ADR rotations here, we're looking at somewhere between 17 and 20,000 points on the next rotation. Even if it's this high at 95, then the next low could be 75, which is the low we've been shooting for this entire time. So there's your 20,000 point move on an 8 to 10 day basis at the very least. All right, looking at ETH, similar deal here. You got your initial drop, 10% drop here, big time fearful or a pullback. Now approaching that high, do we get a lower high or a higher high failure and back down here, or is this a higher low that's going to take us higher? You know, before we've seen some of that happen before, and it just can't go right now. We're still trying to find acceptance above the 200-day and year-to-date VWAP after taking them offered from below. I'm still, as we mentioned with this Bitcoin chart, still giving the upper hand to the bears at this moment until they can really push much, much higher at the moment. So while this is a good short-term push higher, watching this edge here, do we start to lose momentum? Do we start to see another rotation back down? That is still in play. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.